yeah. I had my coffee in the morning with Chippy the Cop. Remember, Chippy's family. Chippy's not going anywhere. Don't worry, baby. You're not going anywhere. So anyway, what a beautiful morning I got here. Got up in the mountains a little bit. It's a little cooler. Man, I'm just living the dream today here. So, by the way, I'm John. If you're new, I'm John. I'm 68 years old. Live out of a tiny little Jeep Cherokee and explore, overland, fly fish. So, today we're going to discuss some fishing. So, I'm probably about 20 miles from a fishing stream. So, we're going to get there in a little bit. But we're going to talk about some basic stuff on leaders and some cheap gear, and see what happens from there. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do next. So stay tuned for that. Let's finish my coffee and do some breakfast. So I can't tell you guys what a beautiful morning I got here today. This is just beautiful today, kind of in the mountains here. Birds are chirping. It's just awesome. So when I got here, I went through Phoenix, stopped at I guess an Asian supermarket there. Huge. It was awesome in there. They had everything. So tonight we're gonna cook up some duck legs. Gotta stay tuned for that. And the place had a lot of weird beer in there. It's weird for an Asian market, but they also had a lot of Polish beer and from other places too. But I did buy this. Hit. It's from India. We're gonna do something different. So we're going to see how that tastes later on. So it seems like it got another 3 weeks before the Overland Expo in Flagstaff. So we're patiently waiting to get there, that's going to be awesome. And next week, it's hard to believe, but it's be my 4-year anniversary on the road. After that, I'll be going in my 5th year living out here. Cool. So I got to do a rant though. So as I went through Phoenix, I figured I got to get an oil change, get gas. So the oil change cost, at a Valvoline quick oil change, cost me $90 to get an oil change, just to drain some oil and put some oil in. What the hell? And I got gas, I had a quarter of a tank. That cost me $76. That's crazy. When I first got on the road, it cost me $50 to get an oil change. And I remember having hardly any gas in my tank, and it cost me $35 to fill it up. So that's more than 50% difference in 4 years. Makes you think. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty here. So, for your beginners, just started fly fishing or haven't even bought anything yet. So, we're gonna see what we can get you educated. So, one thing I want to say, I am definitely not an expert at this. I'm not a guide or anything like that, but I've been fishing a long time, and these are everything just my experiences and a lot of stuff I see on YouTube, which is not true, and I'll go over that. So, yeah, and so 4 years now I've been on the road, been fishing my ass off, and in the 4 years out west here, I've fished over 70 different rivers and lakes. So, doing a lot of fishing. So first we're going to go through leaders. Tippet. Yeah, can't even say it right. Tippet material and assortment of leaders, which you'll need. So basically you got a heavy fly line. So you got to put some monofilament line on there, something thin, and that's got a taper to it. So when you do your presentation to fly, it's going to go nice and soft and not spook the fish away. So on your tippet, you have everything from what is pretty much 3 lengths. You got a 12-foot length, you got a 9-foot length, and a 7.5-foot length. I gotta say, most of the time, I'm using a 7.5-foot length, because I fish a lot of small rivers, and I don't think it's that important. But there are times on certain still waters and stuff that you need a really delicate presentation that you need that. But those are things you don't even have to worry about yet. You're just starting. So my recommendation, let's see if I can find one here. Oh, probably like a, yeah. So this is a 5X. So either a 5X or a 4X. Just, that's good enough for your little trout streams, and if you're going for bluegills. If you're on a farm and you're on a lake, I would go something a little heavier, like a 3X. Yeah, it'll be worthwhile. So one thing you got to remember, how the sizes go. So you get everything from 0X down to 7X. So like a 7X, or forget about 7X, is way too small. I don't even use a 7X. But a 6X is like 2 pounds, well, it's 3.4 pounds at the tip. That's the narrow spot. And like the 5X is 5 pounds at the narrow spot, at the thinnest spot. So you gauge that on the size of the fly you're going to use. So, and then the same thing with your tippet. You buy the tippet that same size. So I got you buy 4X or whatever size you want to use. So one of the things, this is you buy these in the fly shop. You could buy a whole set. This is nylon. It's got a 4X. Yeah, it's got a 4X, a 5X, and a 6X. Thing cost me 13 bucks. Get this spool here. That's probably all you're going to need for a while. And when you're buying tippet material, also buy the same brand, because these things just pop together and stay together. If you buy a different brand, they won't fit. Makes life rough. So, and then you're going to tie in, now on the tippet is there to extend the leader. So at the end of the leader, you're going to put about 2 feet 18 inches of tippet. That way, when you keep putting your flies on there, all right, here's where it gets confusing in a way. So there's 2 types of material. You have nylon and you have fluorocarbon. This is a fluorocarbon right here. So there's a big difference. A lot of it doesn't matter. So the one thing about fluorocarbon towards nylon, so something like this is probably $5. Something like this is probably $20. Extremely expensive. And the difference is, everybody says, oh well, the nylon floats better. When you're doing dry flies, you want to always use nylon. That is pretty much true, but not that true. Everybody says if you use the fluorocarbon, it sinks faster. I don't know. I've been fly fishing for a long time. I've used fluorocarbon for dry flies, and I never had a problem with the fly sinking. It does sink faster, but not that much faster that's going to make a difference. Because there's a lot of times I may use fluorocarbon when I'm nymphing, and all of a sudden this dry fly's coming up, and I'll just tie on a dry fly, never have a problem. And I think sometimes when you're doing small stuff, probably like size 18, 20 dry flies, putting fluorocarbon on can be an advantage too. So also people say the fluorocarbon's stronger and it's more abrasive. I don't know about it. I gotta say, when you look at the specs, it's so minute, stronger, that it doesn't mean crap. Abrasive, I don't know, you really need that, because there's so many times I had a fish that came in, it took off, went kind of behind the rocks, scraped their line across the rock as it was going, and I don't care what kind of line you got, if it's fluorocarbon or whatever, that it's going to break the line. So that little bit of abrasiveness is so irrelevant, it don't need it. But the only advantage I see of using fluorocarbon is that you don't see it underwater. And I've taken fluorocarbon, a small piece, and put it in a piece of in a glass, and I put regular nylon in the glass, and the fluorocarbon just totally disappears in the water, but you can see the nylon. So for nymphing, that's the only reason why I use fluorocarbon, is for that reason. Is it worth the money? Maybe. But as a beginner, if you're just starting to fly fish and you're just getting out there, just go with the cheap stuff, and it doesn't matter. All right, so when I'm on the water, the one things I do use, I have a lanyard. This goes around my neck. So on here, this is where I keep my tippet. So I have an assortment of everything from 3X down to 6X with some fluorocarbon and stuff on there. I have on there is my floating, so when I'm doing dry flies, I got my floating with me. This here is like a dry, so when the fly gets too soaked, you put it in there and it kind of takes the water, unsogs the fly, you could say. Then I have my nail clipper. That's just a clip when I tie a fly on or my tippet on, I can clip off the tag ends. And probably the most important is a pair of forceps. So if that fish swallowed the hook, you can get it out with no problem. So the one thing that's important to learn, there are 2 knots for tying the line together. We have a blood knot and the triple surgeon's knot. Those are the 2 basic knots to put the 2 lines together. And probably the simplest and the most important is the double surgeon's knot. I'm not going to do that now because it'd be hard to see with the GoPro, but there's hundreds probably of videos of how to do a double surgeon's knot. You could find so many people doing it, and they're very good. So my suggestion would be, if you're beginning, let's just make it simple, because it doesn't matter right now what you're doing. Just get a 7.5 foot 4X leader, and 4X. If you can get a spool that's 4X, that's probably all you're going to need if you're just starting out. And just sit on the couch, watch some YouTube videos, and just sit there for an hour or so. Just tie one knot after the other. Get proficient at it. That's going to be so important to learn, and it'll be worthwhile, and it'll make life so much easier on the stream. That's one of the things that's so important, learning how to tie the double surgeon knot. So that's it. I don't know if I left anything out. All right, so I wanted to show you guys my sticker collection of my fly fishing shops on my Jeep. So I got an assortment. I got a Montana, Reds is in Washington. This is Montana. This is from New Mexico, from upstate New York. This one here is from Florida, Idaho, Stanley, Idaho, Montana, Idaho. This is an old fly shop that was up in Kalispell. And this one here was from Kalispell too, Montana. And we got one here from Arizona. We got another one here from New Mexico. This is Idaho. This is Utah. Oh, Fly Fish Foods. Yep. The East Rosebud, Montana. And Rock Creek. Gotta get that. And then a few more here in the back. I got Crows Creek. That was in Washington State. I got Colorado. This was South Dakota, Montana, Helena, Montana. This is the fly shop that was in St. Joe on the St. Rose River. This is Idaho. That's by the Silver Creek. Bent Rod, Idaho. Another one from Idaho. Larry's in Montana. Digby, Montana. Another Montana. And this is another place that was in Washington. I thought it was pretty cool collecting stickers of fly shops and showing them every place I've been. I think it's pretty awesome. But getting hungry, I think we're gonna do some dinner and cook up some duck. All right, we got some duck and we're gonna marinate it. All right, we threw this in a plastic bag. Now we're gonna marinate it. just squish that all up. So real quick, what I put in there, I got some oyster sauce, I got some fish sauce, I got some light soy sauce, some dark soy sauce, and some sesame seed oil. That's all it needs. All right, we're gonna throw a little oil in our frying pan. And we're gonna add our duck. Woo. Oh yeah. Oh baby, that looks good. Let me cover that up. Yeah, we got a pretty low flame going under the duck. And I think we're gonna do some white rice with that. All right, looks like our duck could be done. Now we just gotta finish up our rice. So we put in a little butter and a little bit of oyster sauce, just a little bit, and just a little bit of soy sauce. And we're just gonna flake that up. All right, this duck looks awesome. Some just basic white rice. Was gonna cook some glazed carrots, but I was lazy. Oh well, let's see. Oh man. That is so tasty. Oh, that's so good. But now, we got to open up that beer so I can have a good beer with this. All right, it's time. We're going to open this guy up. Hit beer. It's out of India. 8% alcohol. Product of India. I have no clue to what to expect. Kind of a little nervous. I got a feeling this is either going to taste like crap or it's going to be damn good. Let's see. Let's give this thing a shot. It's light though. Here we go. You know, I'm kind of impressed with it. It's pretty light. It's a very light beer. Got a little weird taste that popped in a couple minutes later. But overall, I'm impressed with it. It's almost like a little German beer, a light German beer, kind of. But let's finish up our duck. Have our good beer. Thanks for everybody popping along. Hope you guys learned anything. Got any questions? Leave it below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions about fly fishing or anything. And don't forget, never stop listening to rock and roll. Never stop exploring. And we'll catch you guys next week.